everyone. I am Damian Holbrook from TV Guide and TV Insider, and I am here for the post-Comic-Con chat with the group from Upload. We've got Andy Allo, Robbie Amell, Zainab Johnson, Allegra Edwards, and Kevin Bigley. So, all right, first of all, I want to congratulate you guys because this first season was delightful and all over the place. Like, the show goes into so many crazy places. Did you guys know when you were signing on that you were getting like a rom-com, a science fiction thriller, a murder mystery?
A little bit.
There's so many things that develop as the season goes on that, like, you know, you kind of figure out what's going to happen with like Nathan and Nora, but then all of these layers start happening, and then Allegra. Like, let's just first start with Andy. Okay, so Robbie, we did a fan favorites panel a couple weeks ago, and he described Nora as the heart of the show.
Yeah.
But it's on your shoulders to actually develop chemistry with somebody that you don't spend a lot of time on screen with. How was that?
I mean, what was great is, you know, Robbie's not bad to look at. So, you know, that makes it a little easier. No, but actually, in all seriousness, I mean, Robbie tells this great story, and I'll steal it a bit, which is, you know, us getting to know each other, just as Robbie and Andy, we got to know each other kind of at the same pace that Nathan and Nora get to know each other. So in a way, that really helped solidify our chemistry and solidify the story of these two people really getting to know each other and building a relationship and friendship at the core, you know? So, and Robbie's just such a great person. He's so sweet. He's so giving. He's so kind. And it was just really wonderful just to play. And, you know, and outside of that, Greg built our characters so layeredly, is that a word? So well that all you have to do is just kind of like really believe it and then get out of the way, because he gave us such a wealth of information and such a gift in this world and the characters that he built.
And Robbie's one of my favorite success stories because he has overcome his looks to prove that he's funny as hell. So and it's one of my favorite things is like, because he could have so easily gone the easy route, but the fact like the Duff and this, like, you get to be so funny in this, and like you will play stupid sometimes, but this guy, talk about the heart of the show, like over the course of the season, Nathan develops a bit of a heart as well.
Yeah, you know, a big thing that Greg and I spoke about when I first met with him, well, actually, when I first booked the role, I didn't really talk too much about it before I booked the role because I didn't want to scare him off. But, you know, in the pilot, Nathan's a bit of a shallow douchebag. And a big thing for me was I was like, I don't want to lose the audience. You know, I understand that we need to give this guy an arc and a place to go. But I was like, I don't want people to, you know, kind of write him off too early and not be able to win them back. And that was just something I had to trust with Greg and with the writers, and just do my best to kind of bring his douchiness, you know, kind of from a relatable place, or, you know, a place that people could understand that, you know, there was no malice behind it. He was just kind of trying to figure out who he was and what was going on. And then, you know, a lot of times it takes meeting somebody to develop as a person. And with Nathan, you know, he has his relationship with Ingrid, and I think, you know, both of them are a little similar in the way that they're a little shallow and a little douchey, but they're also just kind of enjoying themselves and having a good time. But then he meets Nora's character, and he sees somebody who's actually dealing with real problems, you know, who has lost their mom and is fighting to save their dad and working their ass off at a job that doesn't treat them well. And I think that there's a big perspective shift. And I think I think at its core, it's a relatable story for people to look at and think, you know, maybe I thought I had it all going for me in my 20s or my early 20s, mid 20s. And if you really take a step back or a step outside and look at it, maybe you don't. There's more important things, but it's tough to do.
Yeah. And it's a balancing act. And you mentioned Allegra. Ingrid is not the typical like rich bitch thing. Like I actually found myself feeling for her and like kind of understanding where she was coming from. And by the end, again, it's kind of one of those things where I'm like, she really cares about him.
Yeah.
Like
wow.
She makes a huge sacrifice.
Yes.
Have they talked to you about what we're going to find out, like what they plan to kind of investigate as far as her kind of like interior life in the second season?
I know very little. I have hints here and there about what could be coming for Ingrid, but I'm actually just as excited and curious as you may be to find out where she's going to go next. And that's another thing that I love about what they've created with these characters is that we're not all what we appear to be necessarily. And Zainab's Alicia has all these jobs in addition to the one that she's working at Horizon. I'm so curious about Luke's backstory. There's just more to the story for everybody. And that's how we are in real life. We can make these snap judgments right away and write someone off as the rich bitch. But she's got a lot of baggage that she's carrying around and dealing with. And I love that she's doing the best with what she has and trying to express some version of love to Nathan. And it comes out in a really controlling way. But I think she's working with a limited toolbox, So she's using what she has.
Actually, it's super interesting that you said that, because it really was like she's doing basically what love was modeled for her by her family. And Andy is doing the same thing. And in fact, when she says to him at the end, like, that could break her. Like if Nathan did to her what he did to his friend, that could break her. Like both of these women are coming from a place of what they've experienced as love or relationships. So, and then you get Kevin and Zainab's characters who are literally the friends everyone should have. Yeah. Zainab, how much of your stuff was improvised? Because I swear to God, there are moments where I rewound. I'm like, that could not have been planned.
Honestly, not a lot. Wow. Like anytime people like send me lines or clips, I'm like, you got to thank this writer, you got to thank that writer. Mm-hmm. They wrote it. So, I mean, we did. I think that just on a production, they gave us room to explore, but not a lot of my improv made it in, which I'm not sure how that makes me feel. But yeah, the writers are great. So.
Yeah, because there are really honest moments like and it was really kind of great how they positioned you, like they gave you all these great moments that were all tied to kind of developing who this character was. But the moment where she goes to comfort Andy and then like does the donkey kick. I was like, again, I'm like, this is the girl everyone should have in their corner. And Luke is the same way of like, this is the guy, like he's kind of simple and he's an easy to love guy, but he wears his heart on his sleeve.
Mm-hmm. Yep. He's your classic rich bitch. Yeah, I think you get to see two sides of him. It's really funny that I think how they've kind of designed him, that he kind of sits at Nathan's feet and will follow him anywhere, do whatever he wants. But then immediately Alicia enters the picture and tells him to do something, and he'll just be like, "Go f*** yourself." No interest. So he's a follower as well as an anarchist.
Yeah. And then
until I go to the 2 gigs, and then you're like, nah,
I'm out.
But before that, he says like, "I love you," and he's gonna miss you. Yeah. How for you guys that didn't really get to work that much with each other, how did you did you get to spend a lot of time off camera? Because this is like, there are segmented roles here that unless you're an upload or, one of the programmers, you're really not crossing paths.
It's so true. I was jealous. I'm not going to lie, of the people working in the Horizon office together and all of you folks running around Lakeview. Here I am in my own little corner, like riding in cars and going to sex shops and eating with my family and just missing you all. But yeah, we would get to spend time together. We went to a hockey game. That was so much fun. We got to
Damien,
go
a bunch
to
of them
dinner.
had never been to a hockey game, so I was like, okay,
Yeah.
we have to go to a Canucks game.
And
They're
Andy
shooting in
got on the
Vancouver.
jumbo.
Yeah, shooting in Vancouver, you've got to.
Like she was on
Yeah,
the,
Andy was
on the big
dancing and
screen.
got on the jumbotron.
Twice.
Her
She got on the
first
Jumbotron
game.
twice.
Her first game. It's the most Andy thing
Wow.
ever.
It was, like I was blown away by the Swiffer people. Those people.
Oh yeah, the ice crew.
The ice cream, the Swiffer people. Meanwhile, like once you've been on Jimmy Kimmel, the jumbotron is, like, how does that rate
Right.
after that?
You know
That's
what?
true.
It's just as great. It's just as satisfying.
And
She was like, "Oh, like it's hard."
right. And Kevin and Robbie, are these the easiest, most comfortable costumes you've ever had on a show?
Yes, except for the skinny jeans.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Because it truly,
Other than that, it was great.
yeah, you lived in basically, it was basically like a Nancy Meyers film for men.
Mm-hmm. It's the
Sweaters.
same look every single time.
Yeah.
I actually got to keep my my swim trunks from that were just obnoxiously colored that I took to Hawaii when we were done, and my wife was embarrassed for a good week.
Yeah.
So I pride myself in that.
So you mentioned that you don't really know what's coming up in season 2. Have you guys talked with Greg about what the plan is, where things could go?
I think some of us have.
Greg's super collaborative in the way that, like, before we shot the first season, we shot the pilot, and then there was a long time between pilot and second episode. So Greg had us all come into the writers' room, hang out with the writers, talk about what we liked, about our characters, where we wanted to see them go. He showed us a giant board with so many possible storylines. And he was like, tell us which ones, make you laugh, excite you for your characters, anything you don't like at all. And then he did the same thing for season 2, right before the lockdown in California. So all I know is that they have really, really great ideas, and the writers are so unbelievably talented, and Greg, his track record speaks for itself. So we're just in really good hands.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I want to congratulate all of you guys, because I honestly, I just got so wrapped up in this show. I thought it was so sweet. I was blown away by some of the twists, some of the it's just super fun. And I've been telling everybody that they need to binge it, because it flies by. The show flies by, but a lot happens. And like I said, I can't thank you enough for taking the time to talk, because I'm such a fan of the show. So I can't wait for all of this to stop so you guys can go back to making the show for me. Because it's all about it. So congratulations, and thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.